Well, joining me live now is Rob Rogers, Deputy Rural Fire Service Commissioner in New South Wales. Rob, good morning to you. Let's talk about the fire situation in the state. Overall, what is the picture looking like?
Yeah, good morning. Look, 123 fires across the state. Obviously, those areas down south in the high country continue to cause problems, as well as those fires that have come up from that solid wall of fire that was from Batemans Bay all the way up to the Southern Highlands in the Wingello area. Conditions have eased significantly. Probably the most intense fire activity at the moment is in that Snowy Mountains region. The south coast itself has been quiet. There has been a little bit of rain that's fallen there, which is great. So obviously work will be continuing to try and get some level of containment on those fires, but certainly the Snowy Mountains ones are going to be burning for some time. I think the south coast, the message from us is that we've got these fires in hand at the moment, and we're trying to get people to restore as much normality in that southern coast part of New South Wales. Indeed, people like tourists should feel quite safe to return to that area.
We have been hearing that fire crews, understandably, and all emergency service workers, volunteers, are very tired. Of course, we've had a huge couple of months. Rob, how are they feeling, and how many crew are being prepared for the next hot weather?
I think people are tired. I mean, to be honest, in New South Wales, we've been going now pretty non-stop for 5.5 months, so it's a very long time. We are trying to rotate people to get some rest, but obviously volunteers particularly are balancing the rest of their lives also with work and family responsibilities, so we're very conscious of that. I think, though, that by and large, whether they're volunteer or paid firefighters from fire rescue, I think everybody's there trying to get this job finished, so everybody's going to try and make sure we try and get these fires contained, certainly ahead of warm weather returning. Obviously, we've got quite a few days of cooler conditions, which is great, but we can't rely on that. We know that we're not out of the woods as far as summer is concerned. It'll return. We'll get more hot days. So the challenge for us is to get a level of containment, particularly on those fires that are in quite remote areas that there's no easy access to. It's quite difficult to get containment on those. So, but look, fire crews will do their best, and we'll work through that and try and let people, obviously, in those areas get back to normality.
Yes, because as you mentioned, 5.5 months, we had an early start to the bushfire season. We're only into the second week of January, and we just had our hottest and driest year on record last year, so not looking good. The Bureau of Meteorology is suggesting that we will start to see an increase in rainfall in the coming months, but of course we've had very, very dry conditions. Rob, with the 5 to 7 days or so, with the favourable weather conditions, the message you're still giving to the public is not to be complacent. What other messages would you like to give the public?
Well, I think also it's a time where those people that have lost homes in the area, and look, we're up over 2,100 homes that have been destroyed in fires just in New South Wales alone. It's also a time to support your neighbours, people that are going through a tough time, particularly other people are still on holidays. So I think come together, support your neighbours, but also for those people that haven't been affected by fires yet, this is a clear warning of what can happen. So the things we tell everybody to do each and every year: clean out your gutters, remove combustibles from around your home, have a hose that'll just reach all the way around your home. Simple things like that can make all the difference. Most of all, have a bushfire survival plan. Know what you and your family are going to do if you get threatened by fire this summer.
We've had some of the worst fire conditions and weather conditions as well, but some of the best technology. You've got the Fires Near Me app, and talk us through some of the other amazing technology that you do have and what you're preparing for the next hot weather.
Look, I think things like, obviously, very much of our challenge is to get accurate information from the to the community, so they know what's going on, because fires change direction, they change where they are very quickly. So things like the aviation, us mapping exactly where fires are so that we can update things like Fires Near Me. So making sure we get accurate information is really important. That also can tell incident managers how hot these fires are burning, whether there's spot fires starting. That gives warning to crews. So all of those technological things trying to bring all those aircraft together so that, you know, you've got more than 100 aircraft deployed across the state fighting fires on any given day, and coordinating all those and making sure we're getting the closest aircraft to the scene. So there's a lot of technology behind the firefighting that indeed things like the aircraft software is national. We use the same systems nationally so we can share aircraft and use the same systems. So there's quite a lot of technology. But in saying that, I think some of the things we'll learn from this fire season will go forward into helping us to provide better services to the community, because at the end of the day, our sole mission is to reduce the impact of these fires on community and try and prevent them occurring where we can.
And heat is the #1 killer for any natural disaster in Australia. And finally, Rob, how impressed have you been with the public listening to the advice and seeing all of the warnings?
Look, I've got to say, I think that overwhelmingly people did react to the warnings, and I think that when, you know, if you go back some months now, back to September in the northern part of New South Wales, where we started having quite a lot of you know, fires that impacted a lot. Unfortunately, people lost their lives, a lot of homes were lost, and I think people started to see just how serious this fire season was and the consequences of not taking action. And I think we've seen, by and large, most people seriously considering. I mean, we saw all those tourist people leave the south coast ahead of the really bad weather coming through. Once we saw how bad it was ahead of the New Year's Eve time. So I think people are taking it seriously. There'll always be people that decide that they want to consciously make a decision to stay and defend their property. And look, as long as they do that with a clear head, understanding how difficult that can be, and that their property is protected, then that's of course their choice. But I think mostly people have certainly taken this seriously.
Deputy RFS Commissioner Rob Rogers, appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.